Hey fam, we did a Mindful Nuance first today. We had a stranger on, Zach Knoll. Dude, I thought I pimped him on LinkedIn, but he actually found me on LinkedIn. I was fascinated by his story, only grew more fascinated by his story when he came on. So I hope you guys enjoy. So tell me your story, bro. Give me the lifestyle. I've never met you, so this is great. I'm excited. Jules doesn't think I can navigate a conversation with strangers, so this is a big test for me. Totally kidding, but yeah, tell me, if you don't mind, just give me the rundown, starting as early as you're comfortable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, my life's not that exciting, but we basically right after high school, I knew I wanted to do something with cars. That's kind of where I got my beginning, and still where I still work on cars to this day. But right after high school, went for auto body. I started at a local dealership where I was a painter, body man, and I worked there for just under right around 10 years. And I kind of was starting to, it was actually during COVID. I started getting that itch for something different. I just felt like I could do more than what I was doing there. And we had this guy come around that did paintless dent repair. And that was always kind of neat. And I just a whole nother take on the industry that I had never seen before. So kind of a long story short, but finally found the program here in Minnesota, and I had a great instructor, but I decided to go for that. That was going to be 4 to 5 weeks. I would be gone from that shop I had worked at. Well, we had a general manager switch at the dealership I was working at the time, and he didn't like the idea that I was going to be gone for that 4 to 5 weeks. So he decided that he was going to put an ultimatum on me, basically saying, if you go to this training, you don't have a job when you come back. So my wife and I, we had a serious discussion on what we wanted to do. And fortunately, we decided to go ahead with the training. And so I did. I ended up losing my job because of that. And that was the best case scenario. It ended up being the best case scenario, because at that time I didn't really plan on being a business owner. And I always had thought about it. I just didn't think that was the right time. We actually had our first kid on the way. So that added some pressure in there. But it was good. It threw me in there. It made me have to learn. To be honest, I really wasn't ready to be an owner. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I had so much to learn, and I made so many mistakes along the way. Like, I mean, you name it, I did it. Like, the only thing I had going for me was I knew I had to make money. I had a kid on the way, so I had to get it figured out. And actually, fortunately, as that year progressed, I made some quick adaptations, and it actually ended up being the most money we had been able to make at that point in my life. So in a year, so that worked out well. And the next year we had a paintless dent repair. A lot of our best revenue tends to come from hailstorms. Bad for a lot of people, but it is good for us. Somebody's got to fix it. So we had another hailstorm that following year. That was awesome. And after that, I knew I wanted to continue to grow that business, and opted and purchased a brick and mortar store, so can start doing more of that, more insurance work for customers, getting word out about paintless dent repair. And then also we added in window tint and paint protection film. And that's when I brought in my first employee, and he's been an awesome asset to the company. We're growing that window tint department. That's it's just a whole nother portion of the business to grow. And that's been a fun challenge. But during all this, I knew I had to create a way to make passive income. And I've become a big reader or listener anyways of audiobooks, different podcasts. And one that really stuck out to me, and probably a lot, is Rich Dad, to a lot of others, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah, he honestly really kind of had that aha moment in my head. Like, all right, I need something passive. What I'm currently doing isn't. And so I went down the line.
Hold on. I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Not to be a jerk, but you've covered, I want to make sure that we follow along the journey. So we're at the point where you're learning about passive income, and we're about to go into your real estate stuff, right? Is that right? Okay. And I guess I should have let you finish that. So you went from, but I want to go back. Like, I don't even know, when were you born?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to slow you down just real quick. Yeah. So how old are you now? If you don't mind me asking.
So I'm 31.
31. Okay. So let's go back. And Zach Knoll was born, went to high school. And then I'm assuming, but you're close to my generation. So I'm 35. So we're very close, but most of your friends are going to college, right? In high school.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I'm going to bury the witness. My favorite part is that you didn't go to college, right? You chose not to go to college. Is that correct?
No, I ended up going to a tech school.
Did.
But
you did.
As time has went on, honestly, I wouldn't necessarily recommend. I don't know how heavy I would push that on my kids. Like, I think it kind of structures you too much.
Yeah, Jules, put a star. Put a star. Like, key takeaway for all. Yeah, I wish I wouldn't have went to school too.
Same. I can't regret it because it led me down my path now, but I don't know that it was necessary. I wish I had read, honestly, just some of the books that I've read instead of going to college. I would have been off to a quicker start.
But I want to go back. Just like, I think all your decisions are interesting, particularly like one of the things that I'm most passionate about is either corporate handcuffs or like the people that like want to do something and won't just kind of jump into the arena. So all of your decisions become really interesting to me, if that's okay. So I don't mean to like,
no, pry wherever you want, Kevin. Yeah. I'm an open book. So
I appreciate it. That's good. So you're in high school, you decided to go to tech school. Was that a big decision, small decision, just a whatever decision? You said you're always into cars. So you went.
Yeah, it was pretty much a whatever decision. Honestly, it was my parents are awesome. But they never went to college and they wanted to see me have a better life than what they had. And they pushed hard for me to go to college. And that was in high school, that's what they teach you. You have to go to college if you want to be somebody. And like we had just discussed earlier, I don't necessarily agree with that.
I'm excited to see in a future state, like your kids, my kids, if I ever have them. I think the whole college trend is over because it's a bunch of hogwash, in my opinion. So that'll be interesting to see. But so you go tech school, and what is the year? When did you graduate high school?
So I graduated high school in 2012, and immediately went to tech school that fall.
Is that a 2-year deal? Or
that was a 1 year?
1 year deal. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then so you're in school, you decide to go work for the dealership, and then how long were you at the dealership?
I was at the dealership for, I believe it was eight years.
Okay, 8 years. So the year is now somewhere around 20. Oh, you said it was COVID, right? So
yeah. So it's 2020. So yeah. However that, yeah.
Okay, and then so talk about. So you said this is why I have to take notes. So if I'm not looking at you, it's because I'm not smart and I got to take notes because otherwise.
No. Feel free. Yeah, you're good. We don't need to make eye contact the whole time.
I want it to be intimate. So the year is 2020. COVID's going on. It's mad. Oh, and you're in Minnesota, born and raised in Minnesota. What part of Minnesota?
I'd be West Central.
Okay, and so then I'm backing up.
Litchfield, yeah.
West Central, and then mom and dad. It's always interesting to me. Were they entrepreneurial, or they were more
W-2 oriented? But I grew up. Okay. We grew up on a farm site where my grandpa ran a tire shop, and so I just grew up around basically. I looked up to my grandpa. I mean, he was like another dad to me. So I was always out there helping him in the tire shop and doing what I can, all the tasks he didn't want to do, pretty much. And
that's awesome.
So
you said tire shop. He had a farm and a tire shop?
Yeah.
So, okay. That's cool. I have a thesis just for when you scale and have hundreds of employees. I think the best ones come from entrepreneurs or like farming and construction backgrounds, like the people that just get it and figure it out. There's a weird tendency that I've noticed. Okay. So the year is 2020 and you're like, talk to me about the moment. It sounds like you said there was a change in managers, but it also sounds like you had a crappy leader, maybe. So walk me through. You're obviously wrestling with some tension. You're wanting something different. You're not happy where you're at. So talk me through that.
Basically, we had some manager turnover, and my immediate manager, he was awesome. I couldn't have asked for a better manager to kind of teach me along the way, and honestly, just put up with some of my youthful antics. He was very good in that regard, but above him had changed out, and just the whole feeling of the dealership had kind of just changed. It wasn't the job I used to love. And also I had my own, my goals of what I wanted to hit by the time I was 30, at least what I wanted to hit. And I didn't feel like I would ever be able to hit that there without working just stupid hours and all those things that come with that. And plus during COVID, it had slowed down a little bit. I'm sure, as you remember, people weren't driving, which hurts the body shop. We need people to drive to create the cars to fix. So it was slow. So I picked up a side job, and I was just, I guess, kind of suffering some burnout from that, and just knew that I was capable of more. And my wife and I had many talks and prayed many nights to find what the next step was going to be. And that's when paintless dent repair came to mind. And that's when we really started looking into it and finding someone to be that next level coach, instructor.
Got it. So, do you mind, you always can tell me no, like, no, I know like finances are personal, but do you mind painting some type of narrative of like where you were versus where you wanted to be? Because you're now, it's 2020, so it's 5 years ago. So you're like 25, you're looking 5 years ahead.
Yeah.
Saying by 30, I want to hit this number. Do you mind, like, relatively speaking? Yeah.
Yeah. So by 30, I wanted to make over 100,000. That was my personal goal. And I think at that time, my best year at the dealership was 82,000 roughly, give or take.
And then just because I think it's inspirational for year one.
Year one, we were actually able to, we made just a gross, just a little over 150.
That's so cool. Like, check the box, right? I think, yeah.
I mean, and honestly, that was like a huge struggle. Those first couple of months of being out on my own, it was terrible. I had a skill that I had far from mastered. I was capable of making a dent look different, but not necessarily fixed. And so I had a lot to learn. I remember, I was practicing in my basement during the winter months, pounding dents into hoods, like trying to fix these things and just trying to make something of myself. And then if we were anywhere, like on a Saturday, I'd have to run home and leave my family and go practice in my garage. Like, I was religious about practicing every day because I knew I had to make this work. And, I remember setting goals to make 200, 150 a week for a little while. Like, it was quite a change in income for those. I bet it was
$200 a week.
Yeah. Like that was, and I remember like my wife even saying like, are you sure? Like, you don't want to like hurt yourself too much. And like, it took a few months, but as I was out there every day, also making sales routes, I would call it, basically handshakes and just meet different accounts. And fortunately, those meetings started to pay off, and it put us on the trajectory we were, and we were actually able to almost double our income in 1 year.
That's so cool, man. So wait, I have to back up. So the moment you're like, okay, so there's tension, we're wrestling, we want more money. There's no, at current job, there's no avenue to get you to where you want to be. Did you see like an Instagram ad, this program, this 4 to 5 week program? And then what was the cost? Was there an investment? Obviously the time, it cost you your job when you made the decision, but talk me through when you first saw it. Are you evaluating other options? Have you started your ever learning career at this point? Like, are you reading a bunch, or this is kind of, take me through that.
Yeah. So at that time, I was still, I would say I was your normal every day, whatever. After high school, I didn't think you needed to read anymore. Like, that was like, what's a book, So no, at that time I was not reading, but I had seen some ads on Facebook for paintless dent repair. I investigated those, made some interviews, see if they were a good fit. Also did a lot of Googling, things like that. And I came up with a trainer in Minnesota. And ultimately he was the best choice I could have made. I owe him a lot. He introduced me to a lot of great techs within the industry. And some of those techs were what introduced me to different podcasts, and those podcasts then started talking about different audiobooks. And that I'm a super anxious person. And one of those podcasts brought up Zig Ziglar, and he was another one. Like, I would say he changed my life. Like, just listening to his books on repeat, like helping me get it through some of that anxiety and just pushing through and knowing like kind of what I needed to do and helped me become the person that I wanted to be.
I missed it. So you paintless dent repair, you're like the apple in your eye. And you said you had a trainer. Is this a program? Like it's a licensing thing, or it's just or how does?
It's just a program. It's somebody who mastered the trade, and he's willing to share his knowledge. Like there's no true diploma. Like you get a certificate through him, but it's not like state recognized. Put it that way. You're paying for a mentor.
Honestly, like there's not much in this line of work that I've never heard of, but this is actually fascinating to me. So is he is the program, or there is a body, it's like part of the like association where you like, or where is
no,
like you,
I go to his shop.
Him?
Yeah. So his shop was about an hour from me, and I would drive there every day from, I think it was 8 to 5 is when I was there. He would either have me work. As I got better, I could start working on some customer cars, but typically it was on practice panels.
This is an incredible story, actually, to me. It's just a business. It's a side business for him. Like, so he runs his own body shop, and you found him, or
yeah. So he runs his own paintless dent repair shop. He doesn't do traditional painting or body work. Like this is a whole niche within auto body. So during the winter months tend to slow down here in Minnesota. It's just kind of the nature of our industry. So that's when he'll generally take on a student or two. And I was one of those students he took on.
And I just have to admit, I think that man is who we have to get on next. Cause like this is just something he did. It's not part of a bigger national program or anything else. It just happens to be something in Minnesota that caught your eye, that you found that, and he does 1 or 2 students a year, and he puts you on a program and puts you in business for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. So like you learn the skill through him, and he will answer, like he helps you along the way as you're starting your business. I mean, he'll answer questions. Like that's not what the program's geared up for, but he will help you in any way he can. If it would have hailed in that area, he would have let me help him out through that and kind of help start to create an income for myself. He was a great instructor.
And is he the author of the program, or he's a kind of an ambassador of an existing structure?
He would be the author of this program. I mean, there's others within the industry that are teaching paintless dent repair as well, but it's a small niche. There's not a ton of people within this industry. It's pretty specialized. And he was actually one of the first techs in Minnesota to learn the skill. And he learned it from the first tech in Minnesota. That was the guy who came over here from Germany, actually. That's where it had originated in the BMW plants. They were using paintless dent repair to fix some of their faults in their cars. And as time went on, these people they trained kind of spread out, found out there was other areas that could use paintless dent repair. And that's kind of spread throughout the nation like that.
And do you mind advertising? I want to look this man up. Can I know the company?
It's Don Kavanaugh with Dent Craft, and Craft with a K.
Where did you found him? I didn't hear that part. You found, like, did you just go on Google Dent side, or how did you?
That's how I found him. At that time I had no connections within the industry, so other than through advertisements and Google searches, that was the only way I was finding different instructors.
And it was just an idea. I'm just wondering, because like if you wanted so let me just relate this back to my trade so you can understand why Kevin's over here struggling. Maybe I'm just a moron, but like if somebody decided they wanted to be a fence contractor, like we have a fence association, and I guess you could find somebody. So like, I guess I'm like, if you want, I want to be a fence contractor, where's an instructor? You couldn't find an instructor. You could find a coach that may or may not even be able to help you get in business. So I want to make sure I'm tracking your journey. Is like, you're like, hey, this dent side repair seems like an avenue for me. And then you Googled it, then you found it. So it was like all your own impetus. It wasn't like he hit you with advertising that said, hey, come become a dent side business owner. I'm going to put you in business. You said, I want to do this. And you found him.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Dude, that's Good on you, man. Is there anything else you were thinking about? Were you like, I want to be a carpenter or was it obviously like cars?
Yeah, I like cars, but another avenue I had thought of, I've always enjoyed like different landscaping projects around the house. Like that was a possibility to me, but in the end, I just decided I know cars, and that's what I'm going to stick with.
Got it. Okay. What was the investment besides the 5 weeks?
So for those it was 4 weeks of training, and it was $5,000 a week. So $20,000 is what I spent on this training.
Dude. Okay. So this is a huge move.
Yeah. And like I said, that was 5 years ago, but that was literally, I mean, at that time, it was more than I paid for my entire year of college. Like it was a big decision for my wife and I.
And can we like try to relive that with you? Because I think this is like, it's kind of the decision, right? It's like that decision, like the life-changing moment where you went from W-2 to like controlling your freedom. So like how long? And that's why, and I'm sorry, that's why it's so important for me to be like, how did you pick a lane? And you evaluate it. You want more money. You're doing some stuff. You're attracted to the dent side repair. How long does it take you? Prayer with your wife, which I think is awesome. I'm a Bible banger myself. Most of the episodes we've done have been about Jesus, so that's cool. So we're how long does that take to be like, F it, I'm going?
I would say it took about 6 months. I mean, from the time we seriously started thinking about it to finally making that decision.
6 months of like, we touch on it weekly, or is it like every day?
We touch on it every day. I mean, it was in my head, and I couldn't let go of it. Like I knew I needed a change. I was burnt out on what I was doing at that time at that W-2.
And I got to imagine $20,000 at that time has got to look like most of clearing the bank account. I mean, we've always been, we're frugal people. We're not very extravagant, but it was a lot of money at that time. Like that was basically a quarter of my income for the year. So, and like I said, we had a kid on the way. So actually by the time we made the decision, had just shortly afterwards found out we were having my wife was pregnant with her first daughter. So what's your daughter's name?
Grace.
Awesome. So yeah, so 2020, 2021 was a busy year for Zach, eh?
Yeah, that was a year to remember.
So I understand how you got into the business, and then I definitely want to go. I love that you were talking about your failure. Like everybody asks me like, not everybody, not many people care to ask me much, but like when I'm talking to people, like, how did you make your success? And I'm like, I'm the best failure you're ever going to meet. I just freaking fall forward. So we'll get into all that. But
sounds like you'll be a good podcast guest.
Yeah. So we're in the business. We make money year one, which I think is incredible. I'm curious if I talk to 20 people if they say that, because I've lost my butt for my first 3 years. But you might just be smarter than me. So we're making money, and I cut you off, but so let's say it's 2020. The year is 2020. We're doing the dent side repair, and then you've added an employee. When did you add your first employee? That was a critical moment. And
that would have been in 2023.
Okay, so 2023 we add paint. I can't remember, protective.
Yeah,
and
paint
tinting,
protection
right?
film, and then window tinting.
And then huge big move. This is probably like, I'm assuming a big move, first employee. We'll talk about that in a minute. But then I cut you off as you were getting into kind of get me up to 2025. So I think you got some real estate stuff going. Talk to me about that.
It was about that time we purchased the commercial building or our brick and mortar store for paintless dent repair that kind of got the idea that we need to have some passive income coming in, but it had hailed in our area. And that year, I mean, it was a busy year. And this was going into 2024 when another hailstorm hit. And we knew, like, when it hails, like I really don't get to see my family. Like, they'll come by with lunch and supper usually, but that's the only real time I get to see them. And honestly, it really has worn down on me as far as missing my kids and my wife. And honestly, I broke a couple of ribs in there too. And during that time, it was kind of an eye opener. Like, wow, when I quit working, I'm really not making money. So I went down, I listened to a few different books. I looked into options, stocks, crypto, single family rentals, and none of those single family rentals seem to make sense to me, but it seems so slow, I guess, to get to my freedom number. Crypto, great option, but it's just, I like something that's like physical. It's there. And so finally, then I read Michael Blanc's book, Financial Freedom with Real Estate Investing. That was about doing syndications to purchase apartments. It really interested me. And I listened to that book a few different times. I listened to other books in regards to that specific two syndications. And then I had my wife, she doesn't get as interested in the different audiobooks that I listen to, but she'll put up with me once in a while and listen to them when I get another wild hair. And so she listened to this one, and I really just wanted confirmation that I wasn't thinking of something too crazy. And she listened to it and she agreed that it really sounded interesting. And so I reached out to Michael Blanc and his program. So that would have been late 2024. Late 2023. And we signed. I apologize, Kevin. I got to think here on my dates.
It's good, man. I can't. I'm the same way. I'm lucky I was born in '90, so it becomes easy. But yeah,
it all kind of blends together. Like, but let's see. Yeah, so it was late 2023. That was the year the biggest hailstorm I had worked as well. And yeah. Yep. So I was coming off the end of that. It was right after Thanksgiving. I signed up for his program. So I was still wrapping up the hailstorm and also balancing this whole entire program that I would say I was spending typically 10 to 15 hours a week on. And it kind of built me up as far as finding connections, finding property managers, finding my market, how many units I wanted in the building, which originally, I had decided like 20 to 50 unit apartment building is what I wanted. That later changed to kind of that 10 to 40. But, and then contacting brokers every week. I would create a list on Sunday of all the brokers I wanted to reach out to. And usually Tuesday mornings is when I would make those calls. I would try to attend as many real estate meetups as I could. I would be doing Zoom calls for different real estate meetups, just really getting myself out there and networking, all the while trying to find different partners that would be interested in investing in these deals together. Because it's not a solo sport. It takes a team to take down these deals, and not everybody is on board with investing in real estate. It's different than the stock market. So through that, we kind of kept that cadence throughout the entire year. And I had a goal to get an apartment under contract before year's end, and had a few different ones we had submitted offers on that we had analyzed, underwrote, and they looked really promising. And we usually end up just a little bit off from what the seller was willing to take. And at those prices, we didn't believe that we could make that deal work. And so finally it was getting to be November, and we had another one come up, and I put in an offer, and again, it was too far off from the sellers, but the sellers actually were able to, through discussions, we came to an agreement, and that one actually went under contract 2 years before the end of the year. So we had just met our goal on that one. Like that was super close. And so then that kicked off our due diligence process, and we just got through that, and we're actually set to close on that property on the 27th. And that one is a 23 unit apartment. And then it also is a campground as well. And that has 40 RV pads with full hookup.
Bro, that's awesome. I'm learning as we go. So I guess I got to go read. I love real estate myself, but I'm just playing in the freshman leagues, JV maybe. So Blanc's book is helpful to you. So your first, if you don't mind me asking, but you're putting the strategy as commercial real estate, which is like significantly more expensive than residential. So that therefore you have to go find partners. How many partners does it take for you to get your first deal?
Yeah, so on like this deal here, I have one primary partner is what we're going to have on this one, and then we will have anywhere between 2 to 4 passive investors on this deal, where they don't deal with the day-to-day managing. but they invest on it and they see the returns on it.
That's cool, man. And so I should have caught this. This is your second one, or
This is the first deal.
Okay. So when you said, 2023, you start looking, the one deal, a couple deals have fallen out. So you're closing your first deal 2025.
Yeah. So 2023, I joined the program. Basically, it was the end of November, and I had a goal before the end of 2024 to get a deal closed.
And you're right up in that. I got you.
Yep.
Can I ask how big the deal is?
Yeah. So it's the property itself is 1.6 million.
Got it. That's sick, dude. So you went from W-2 making 80 grand a year. I just want to make sure I'm getting the highlights here.
Yep.
And 2020 owning, at least in part, a $1.6 million property in 2025, along with doubling your income. I guess you got to tell me, how well is the year 150,000? How are we doing? How are we doing year 5 or year 4?
It's hail dependent, but we were able to that would have been 2023. We actually grossed over $1 million that year. So,
sick. And you can't have much besides, you have one employee, some rent. So
yeah, we had subcontractors that year to help. We had some dealerships get hit. So during hailstorms, it's not uncommon to pull in subcontractors if we need, but it's,
we'll speak so gross and net gets people confused, and I'm hope some of our audience would be super savvy. Some of our audience is like, what does gross mean? So we bring in a volume high level revenue of 1.1, and can you approximate percent take home? Are we at 50%?
Yeah, you're looking at about 50%. Yeah.
Okay. So you have almost 5 times in 4 years from 80. Let's do the math. It's over 5 times. You 5 times your income. Yeah. And so you're well on your way, if not already a millionaire. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, that would be fair to say.
Have you taken a minute and given yourself a pat on the back?
No, I'm terrible about that. No, I just, we hit that number, and I think my reward for that, I bought myself a grill. You
strike me as a simpleton. You strike me as a simpleton.
I am. I was I didn't even really take my wife gets after me for that because I just don't. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but what's our next goal?
That's sick, man. As somebody that's lived that, and 2 years ago, I hit a freaking, I had accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish, and then I got the most anxiety in my whole life. So be careful. That's what I'd say. Is just be careful and don't forget. Celebrate just a little bit, probably. Pat yourself. It's okay. It's okay to take. That's all. I don't. Wise words from a fence guy.
I appreciate it, Kevin. It can. You feel the effects at times. I know that for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the interesting thing is the grinders, which you embody everything about a grinder, is you get so trapped in the grind and then you forget what you're doing it for, right? And then it's it's always, you actually said it, I'm on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So it's but it sounds like you have your freedom number. I wanted to ask about that. Is that out of the book?
Yes. Yeah. So my, personal freedom, I have 2 freedom numbers, put it that way. My initial, just to survive number, I created that. And for my family, with our home and our 2 kids, it's 60,000. So it's not that's just what we need to make passively to totally just to cover living. That's that number. Passive, we want to be able to hit 200,000 in passive investments without dent details income. That would be for my family, a very we could comfortably live on that and have a good life, for what we want.
That's awesome. And so that's is that out Michael Blanc's book? Is that part of that? The freedom, financial freedom
that was more part of his program where you create those numbers.
Okay. And then you've mentioned, and I just want to make sure so we're all learning, I'm assuming a syndication is kind of the group of buyers for this real estate. So you put a group, that's when you say a syndicate, that's a real estate syndicate is a group of buyers. Is that right? Or is that wrong?
No, that would be correct in saying it's really just a syndication is all the people you pulled together to get that deal done. So that's exactly what you're saying.
Okay. And for our lazy viewers and our ADD viewers that aren't going to go read the book and put themselves on the program, like the diligent the diligent human you are. So we're buying a property for 1 point. How much? I mean, I think they use AUM, assets under management, or how much real estate do you need to buy to hit either your minimum or reach goal there?
That is such a tough number to say, just because of the fact every deal can be structured so differently. We have our target returns we like to see on them. I think like our initial number, we're going to be floating at around, we're going to need to hit our initial number, basically another deal of this size. So roughly 50 units.
And so depending on the deal, somewhere around, if you have a fractional interest in somewhere around $3 million worth of real estate, you think that you can be generating, give or take, given the deal, somewhere around $60,000 a year.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. There's a lot of variables within that, but that's our prediction at this time.
And when you say our, is that wife and I, or that is you and your syndicate? Just because I'm curious.
That would be, yeah. I mean, it'd be a combination of both. I mean, we see what returns can be through our underwriting. I mean, every deal that we seriously underwrite takes, once we're want to move forward with it, I bet we spend, I don't think it'd be too far-fetched to say we got, 80, probably around 80 hours into underwriting these numbers to make sure that, like, because we got, like, when we're moving forward with this deal, we got to verify every single expense, shop, all of that fun stuff.
Got it. I might have an opportunity for us one day. I want to do real estate just a little different. So we might or might not have time, because we don't want to talk about Kevin. We want to talk about Zach.
Well, either way, we'll talk about that sometime. I'm always interested.
I see that about you. So, which we're going to talk about, but you snuck a few things in me. You, first of all, kids. So we had Grace in 2020 or 2021, shortly after you launched the business.
Oh no, Kevin, this is the hardest question of the day. Let's see. That would be, 2021, July. Yep.
Okay. And then you said kids. How many are?
So I have one other rascal. He's my boy. He was born last year in January. So he just turned it. He's a little over a year now.
And what is his name?
Ian.
Got it. And are we just, so everybody's getting to know Zach, is the tribe expanding, or is the tribe?
Tribe's done.
Got it.
The tribe is done.
Cool, man. That's awesome. So, all right. So we had kids, and then you snuck in this broken ribs thing. Did we slip at work, or we got a passion that you haven't told me about?
No, that was just me being dumb in the spirit of honesty. We decided to we live on a lake, and we decided we needed a jet ski. And so we bought a jet ski. And
a stand-up jet ski?
No, it was a sit-on. So it only gets worse, Kevin. I'm not a stunter here by any means. And
so hold on, I have to interrupt you. What's interesting is I'm a backcountry snowmobile, like a total outdoor enthusiast. And it's not really a syndication, but my best friend and I split this house, and he is a semi-pro jet skier, and the whole tribe of jet skiers are actually at my house. That's why I'm sitting in a restaurant right now, because I didn't want to wake them up. So there's a bunch of professional jet ski nuts at my house, and you're about to tell me about your jet ski crash. So carry on.
Yeah, well, don't tell them about this story, because it's pretty it's not impressive, put it that way. And they're not about to. You're not going to see me on any circuits anytime soon.
Yeah.
So we just bought this thing, and we get home. It was getting kind of later or whatever. We rush, and my wife comes down. We literally, all I did was drive it to the dock. Wife comes down. We're like, all right, let's take this thing out for a test run. We back out away from the dock. We get going. We're going like, we just got up to like 50. And I still don't know exactly what happened or why. I don't know if I just wasn't used to how it turned, or if we just both leaned. I have no idea. Either way, we fall off, we get tossed, and my wife was just so harassing me, like, what was that all about? Whatever. And I couldn't hardly breathe. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, and of course, that jet ski kept going for a ways, going 50. We had the pull cord on, so it died, but like it just, momentum takes it a ways. And I'm trying to catch this thing, and my wife's still just harassing me the whole time. And I'm finally like, Kelly, you got to go grab the jet ski. I can't make it. And so I get myself pulled up, and actually I drove it back to the dock, and I just I sat there for a moment. I'm like, I don't know, something's not right. And they'll finally get up to the house, and I just laid there for a while, and probably like any of us, I don't know, like I get a little caveman-y sometimes, like I'm tougher than this, and it's going to be fine. I just need to sleep on it. I laid there, and in some agony for a while. And finally she's like, all right, we gotta get you to the ER. So this was like, by this time it was a little after 10. So we called my mom to come to our house, and she watched the kids, and found out, I think it was 3 ribs I broke, and I just compressed the lung a little bit. And so I don't really know, like, I'm not proud of that story, but that was probably one of the dumbest things I've done. And like, I guess my only real takeaway is from that, like, probably don't pig out the throttle on a new toy, like, immediately. Like, maybe bother to learn how it handles.
There you go. Well, just so we can give credit where credit's due, are we a Sea-Doo guy, or was it a Yami?
It was a Yami. Yeah. I am I have a Can-Am 4-wheeler, so I'm a little partial, but this Yamaha was like, it fit the bid for size of what we wanted. So
that's cool. I'm a big Can-Am. I'm a motor junkie, so we run Can-Am snowmobile. I'm an Arctic Cat fan, actually, by Snowmobile Trades, but the best vehicle I've ever owned was a Sea-Doo RXB. Like, it was like the best machine. I just think Can-Am engineers, but I run Yamaha for moto. So you're hitting on both of my favorite brands. Maybe we'll plug them and get a sponsorship for this.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I don't think they're gonna unless. So now we call it the rib ski. That's.
All right, well, I'm going to take us back and I want to talk about some of your failures and obviously some great success, which is so cool. So, like, I mean, what would you have to say to somebody that is you, 25-year-old you that's stuck, that's like wants to make the plunge, like that can't bridge the gap? Like, it's too scary.
It's always going to be scary. There's no way around it. My best advice, and something I wish I would have done ahead of time, is just read or listen to more audiobooks. It just to help prepare you for what you're going to have to be. I come from the trade, so being a salesman isn't natural. Like, it's just wasn't part of what I do. And I still don't consider myself a salesman, but it is part of life. And you have to, if you truly want to scale up your business, you need to be able to present yourself as a professional to your customers. So many people, when you call a business, how often do you just get a grunt on the other end of the line? Like, you don't even know if you reached a business. You just like, did I misdial this customer? Learn to be a professional and how to actually do your due diligence on how to run a business and create a plan, and try to stick to that the best you can. I had too many curves within when I first started. I didn't know where I was going. Now I try to be more directional in what I'm doing. Of course, there's always some obstacles you hit, and you got to work around those. Don't build up too much debt when you want, like, try to keep your debt very minimal. And that's something my wife and I always did. We've always drove older vehicles and things like that. Our house it's the first home I bought out of college. So we don't live extravagantly.
Awesome. You said that I had too many curves. The image I get is like you have to have kind of like, I mean, I don't think that any path is a straight. Are you saying trying to have a straight linear path without like bobbing and weaving? Is that what you're talking about?
The best that you can. Like you said, yeah. Kevin, there will always be curves within that path for sure. But at least have the end goal in mind, or not, the goal that you want to get to. I think if you wake up every day and you don't have a purpose, like, it's going to be a rough day. I create a schedule for every day now, like what I want to do, what I want to accomplish. And like, just say that you want to make 100,000 by the end of the year. You need to know what you want to make, to make that 100,000, what you need to make weekly, daily, monthly. And that's the only real way you're going to get to that 100,000, in my opinion.
I'm big on purpose. You already gave me your end goal, but I was going to ask you what your North Star is. And I'm going to ask you, actually, where's your North Star? So, well, 2 things. Where is your ultimate North Star? So we obviously, and I appreciate you just being an open book and sharing. I think authenticity, vulnerability is like a super important trait, actually part of our core values at my company. But is that the BHAG for you? Is the passive income, the 2 passive income goals, or is there another BHAG with? And I forget I don't even plug your company. What's your company name?
Dent Details.
So 2 questions. What is Zach Knoll's ultimate BHAG? And then how do you balance between the two? Like, I find like I have actually 80 business plans written out, right? And I've like got to focus on the fence company and I got to put these out. So prioritization is something that as an ADD man wrestle with. So I'm just curious how you prioritize your real estate and passive income pursuit relative to your dent detail.
To be honest, it's a struggle at this time. It's something I'm really having a tough time with balancing the two because they tend to, when I'm doing paintless dent repair, I'm out in the field away from my computer, and it's a lot harder to take some of those broker calls while you're fixing dents. So that is something I'm working on, designated specific times for each portion of that business. The long-term goal here, and I'm actively searching for another technician to bring in for dent details, so I can start handing off some of the tasks that I currently do and can create more time to be a true business owner, guide dent details down the path it needs to, and also work on my real estate business as well.
So your answer, the question is, how do you balance? You would say it's a struggle. Like there's not a good form, or do you have a good formula for how you commit, allocate time? It's kind of like triage.
To the best of my ability at this time, I try to set aside times within my calendar and be as efficient as possible. Now that calendar there's fires that come up on both sides at times. And then all of a sudden that calendar is like a roller coaster. And it's like, you're just trying to get back on track.
So let's get to the ultimate BHAG. So like for you, like ultimate success, which sounds like you're going to keep moving your needle, because I think you probably already accomplished like what originally was ultimate success, as I assume is evolving. But current day, it's like, when I have done this, I have arrived. What is is it that 200,000 or is there another one?
There's another one. I figured. Deep down, I want to see that consistent million. Like that's something that I was just always that knucklehead in high school. Like that made like the top tier students possible because I was always on that bottom end of the spectrum. So
that's an amazing quote. I made the top tier possible. Yeah, I totally relate. I wasn't bottom tier, but I was unlikely. Like I rocked a mullet in college. I tried to be really reckless so nobody could have high expectations of me. It was actually a beard. I didn't realize it at the time, but I just wanted to be a nutbag that would like huck himself off the mountain so nobody could hold me in high regard and have high expectations for me. Super deep rooted family drama that drives that. We won't get into it. But so yeah, so like I love that's so cool. When and if this story gets told, are there how many people from like high school you are going to be like kind of shocked? Like, would it be like to hear where you're at?
I would say, in high school, I bet 70, 80% would be shocked. Like,
that's so cool, man. You should, I don't want to be a counselor here, but like, you should just take a minute and take a couple minutes and celebrate. It's like really cool. I like, very similar, but like I've got 100 people working for me and like, a big anthem and series I'm going to do is I call IPS. I keep people stuff like the nastiest, like this. The business is fine. The people it's hard, but it took me to go through like 100 to get 100 like of really good team members. Right. And I just think like you should, I don't know you well enough to put you in this tier yet, but like there's you're one of those exceptional people, like, and you should recognize that. And I think not often enough, some of the exceptional are told that or recognize that. And so I would implore you as you start to scale and hire is like, you're definitely a cut above. So if you have expectations for people to be capable to do what you do because you're humble and you think like you're the dumbest guy in the room, like frankly, you're wrong. So like I would just, whatever that means to you, it's just cool to hear your story. So you should.
I would love to hear more about like hearing that you took your business to over 100 employees. I'd love to hear that portion of it. That's not what today is about. But
no,
because that is to be able to do that in a service industry is very difficult.
I would say like the story is similar. The story is similar insofar as like, and I do not love this guy, but Zuckerberg's like trying new things and break stuff is like my anthem. It's just like freaking, I would just say bumbling and stumbling all the way forward. I've had cokeheads work for me. I've had like, dude was like eating ketchup packets. Like my old philosophy is like, if you want to work hard and you want to learn, or if you're willing to learn and you're willing to work hard, like I will give you a career where you'll be successful. And like, unfortunately that worked, but I had a girl that was coming from down south. Like she was super polite. She saw our advertisement and, she couldn't afford to get to us. right? Just couldn't. And she had been pursuing me for 3 months. I'm like, dude, I just want, and it's part of our values is like people opportunity. So I guess that would be my thing is build a company. That would be let me give you the simple answers. Like build an environment that people want to be a part of, period, end of sentence. If you do that, everything else is okay. And that's what we did is like, cause I'm not in it to get super wealthy. I'm in it to do good. Like if I wanted to make more money, I actually did really well in school, which is a different story. I could have went and make a shitload of money on Wall Street. I hate those people. I want to beat those people. I find private equity dudes to be like disgusting and lazy. I just want to beat them. But like, that's what I say. Create an environment people want to work. People want to be at, people want to be a part of, like that. It makes them inspired when they go to work. Like that's the biggest thing. Culture trumps strategy all day long. Culture. But then I wasn't running good process to like vet them. So this girl is like, she's working out of the oil field. She wants to come fence. And I'm like, this is great, which is not common. Let's say this is not common that a female wants to come build fence. It's like, dude, I want to go, Mr. Cabin. Like, I want to come work. But so I paid her to get up there. She never showed up. It's like she stole the money. It's like, it's like, dude, what the frick? Like, seriously? And like, dude, this other dude, he had all the promise in the world. I don't know if he was a drunk. I don't know what he was. Like, paid him to get there. He showed up and then he like stayed at the hotel and took the money and ran. It was the weirdest thing. So like, I mean, I would just say on the people side, I think, which is that's going to be my schlick. Like, nobody's teaching this because once you figure it out, you go build businesses everywhere because you can automate them. And it's like people wonder like, how does Elon do what he does? Because he gets people. I would say, I imagine that's the only way that you can go and run 7 companies is you know exactly what you need at each company to run it. And like for you to like maximize your time and it becomes passive income, right? And who am I to say what Elon would say? But I think if you understand people, which really understanding people is seeing it right as early as you can, like getting in and out of those decisions and being willing to fire, right? I think most people, when they make people decisions, they hold on way too long. And the only way to learn people is to do people, right? It's like anything is like, you got to go through them and you got to like, this is wrong. And then once they figure it out, you can just go be in business for yourself. Right. So that's my passion is to kind of like elevate and help coach. Like a guy like yourself is like, all right, like how do we take the inside and make it automated? Like, how do we go repeat exactly like, yes, you're unique, but there's others like you. And there's others like you that need a little bit more than you did because you just took a leap and spent $20,000 and like very quickly millionaire looking to make 7 figures a year, right? I think that's special and super unique, but I think there's a lot of yous that need help to just get out of the W-2, like put me on a trajectory, maybe less risk and all of that so that you can go scale. Like I think this whole thing I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I don't know. It fascinates me. And like for you to go unlock yourself in the business and scale the business, like that gets me excited. And I think the key to that is people, period, end of sentence. It's going to be the people.
Like you said, the people. And then like, when did you make your decision that you could scale it and start stepping out of it? I'm assuming that at one point you were doing the day-to-day operations, like putting in the fence. And at some point you probably had to make that decision where like, all right, I can sacrifice that income and hire more because I can scale this business and make more that way. Like that's the scary jump that I would, to some extent, I'm at that point.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I think your advice to the person that's going to jump out of the W-2 is it's always going to be scary, right? It is. And I think I told you I was reckless. I am reckless. And I think so I have to admit, I admire your story more than mine. I despise it, but I'm 3rd generation. So I went to school against my father's will. And then I worked with Pops, against Pop. It was painful. Like I could write a book about that too. Freaking fighting with Dad for 3 years. It was a disaster, utter disaster. But I was blessed insofar as that I had a head start. I mean, I bought it. It was a legit transaction, but I would be lying if I didn't have at least a semi-silver bronze spoon. And I hate it. I disdain it. And for that reason, I've been very bitter towards the business because it's not really mine. It's something I had to like inherit. It's like it really is my bastard child. So when I get all my businesses up, it will be the bastard child of my portfolio because it's like, I didn't start it from zero. I admire the guys that started from zero. I think for me, you talk about like you say some curves in your road or whatever. Ben's like, dude, we were taking jagged like backwards, forwards. Like mine would look more like the stock market. Like there was nothing. It was linearly headed the right direction. But what I had is I always wanted to install and I didn't get the opportunity. My dad was super short-sighted. Loved the man. Like he did really well for himself, self-made millionaire. done really well. He's a terrible leader. I hope he doesn't listen. Like he doesn't know it, but he's a god. Like he doesn't, like, if you asked him to define leadership, he'd be like, go do your job. What are you talking? You know what I mean? Like one of those, like there's not, like millennials wouldn't work for him. He would hate millennials. And like, anyway, I don't want to get into that, but like leadership is something that mattered to me. And I always wanted to do what he did and take it to the next level and do better. So my goal was always on growth and vision. Like I had no interest in, and I remember we would chat. He's like, dude, the smartest thing you could do is just shrink the company and run a small team. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's how you'd make the most money. I was like, if I was in it to make the most money, I wouldn't be in it. Like, yeah, I don't think you understand. Like we could never get on the same page. But for me, it was scale all the way top to bottom. And I would have been better to be more prudent. Like you're probably farther analytical than me. Like I don't know if you do any disc profiles or predictive index or anything like that, but I am hyper. A great book, if you haven't, like EOS Traction is like, if you're looking for the foundations, like I could tell you, write a book about that book. But it took us 7 years to get it implemented. But the difference between a visionary and an integrator is huge. I'm high visionary. So we were just running and gunning, man. Like we were going to scale and we were going to keep scaling. And the average job I used to get excited about a $15,000 job. Like 4 years later, like I'm not looking at it unless it's $500,000 or more. Like, you just kind of fall forward. But I would say I didn't do it carefully. And I would be the epitome of like grew top line, bottom line struggled. Like you've done what I would call the opposite, and the more better version is like you were very focused on take home. I was very focused on growth. I will be free before you, not economically, but like I have a management team in place, which has been very difficult to get the right people in the right seats. Like I'm through probably 6 integrators, like a president, the guy that runs the show. There's a guy that can, and I think the story of the Fords is interesting. The story of even Apple, there's always a right hand and a left hand. Like anything that was big and worthwhile, there was a dreamer that's looking forward and just all these ideas. And then there's a doer, the guy that can put the process in place, and like recognizing your strength in that is important. And depending on how big you want to be, I think it's critically necessary. But anyway, I've been through 6. Like I tried with my sister. I will write a book about like making people decisions, and I've made all the wrong ones. But to your point, you have to accept failure. Like for you is to go do I'm assuming like you run a very tight ship. We are near perfect. Your customer service is excellent. There's like very few hiccups and everything is on you. I envision a world where, you are the business, right? It's like it starts, stops, and ends with you. And like you have to tolerate failure. You both for self and for hired hands, right? Like you're gonna, I always use this analogy: 50% of marriages end in divorce. Why? Because we suck at relationships, we suck at commitment, and there's a whole myriad of things. But that's after like 2 years of courtship, a year of maybe living together or engagement, and then like 5 years of being in relationship, and then they fail. So like I think the infinite wisdom is like you're not going to get it right. Like you gotta be able to like go through people. I hate to say it that way. Is like you're not going to read a book and understand the people game, because every situation has a little bit of an intricacy. It's like, maybe you should hold on longer, maybe you shouldn't. The guiding light is don't hold on. When it's wrong, it's wrong. Don't be wrong. A tolerance of failure that's really, really uncomfortable for you, because it's like everything you've built now has to be shaken. And listen, I've had to talk to customers about how terrible of a job we did. They suck, but like you got to do it. And like, you know what? Some of my best customers where I really hit my growth was like when we had a problem. And like one of the problems, we had like $100,000 check got, essentially our email got hacked. They emailed the customer and rerouted our money. So it was really their fault, but we were hacked. And what do we do in that moment? They ask us to take a haircut. I can say, okay, cool. Well, I want to see all your work nationally. And now I'm a national contractor, right? So like I lost 20, 30 grand, but I built a relationship that's like catapulted us into the next echelon of like our business. So that's where I just think, it's not about me, but that would be my answer to your question.
No, that was a great explanation, and I appreciate it. And I think when you touched on you have to be okay with failure, like that's a huge part of being a business owner, and that did take me a long time to know that. Like I still like you've taken it to the next level, and I need to have employees that I'm okay when like there's going to be hiccups and more things like that. But already just along the growth that I've seen failure has become a normal part with that. And you have to be okay with that and try to learn from it every single time.
Yeah. I mean, amen. So then I guess I'm going to flip the script back to you. Like, when you think of the catalyst or the series of catalysts, like your favorite lessons learned or failures that like moved you forward in the journey?
That is a very good question. Some of my failures it revolve honestly around just not trusting my gut. Like I had one account that I fought them for over a year. They owed me over 100,000. My gut right off the get-go said this might not be a good account to take on, but I saw dollar signs and I thought it would be a good opportunity. Now we were able to, after that year, collect most of that. We never did collect all of it, which I took that as my lesson learned kind of deal and move forward from there. And that's just not an account we do business with any longer. And some customers, you have to be okay with that. Like sometimes the most money you can make is saying no to a customer too. So
I ruminate. Do you journal at all? Are you a reflective guy?
Yeah, to some extent, I would say I journal. I meditate every morning. Like I think on my direction and like just what I need to improve on.
If somebody's listening, inspired by Zach Knoll, and they want to be a disciple of Zach Knoll, if you will, like they want to follow that journey, like break out and be done with W-2. What is the closing recommendations? And not that we're done, and also like your key read list. What, like the books that you would say, hey, you need to read these because you sound like an ever learner, or podcast or whatever what media should they go consume?
I find podcasts within your whatever industry you're looking at getting into, because most likely there's somebody within that industry that's crushing it. Like if you want to get into fencing, follow Kevin's podcast here. Kevin's your fencing guy. But whatever that is, like within paintless dent repair, there's people within my industry that just crush it. And those are the guys that you want to look up to. You want to surround yourself with people that are successful. You don't want to surround yourself with people that aren't going in the direction that you want to go, because you will become that. It's just something to be cautious of. I'm not saying you can't be friends with them, but you need to be, you will become the level of people that you surround yourself with. I'm trying to, what were the other parts of that question, Kevin?
Oh no, just your key books. So you say, I got Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar. I'm going to look him up. I don't know him. I've heard that name though.
Those were, I would say I've pretty much read every single book in both of those guys' series. They were my biggest,
those are you guys.
My biggest game changers. Like I forget, I have a crazy amount of hours on Audible and I read in addition to that, but those were my two biggest authors.
You said you don't like debt. Have you, isn't Robert's pro? He's like him and Dave Ramsey should have a conversation sometimes, right? Because their advice is completely opposite.
Yeah, I'm glad he brought that up, actually. So, yeah, debt is something like I grew up in a household where, like, let's just put it this way. I didn't have a head start with financials by any means. Like, what I had was, like, what I was able to save up working at Sears selling mattresses during college. So, like, that was my initial funds, I've learned now, and it's still a pain point for me, but you have to be okay with debt to some, like, smart debt. You need it to leverage. Honestly, with like this apartment deal, the reason these deals can be very lucrative is because you're leveraging so much debt. You're taking out, through financing, it's anywhere between 80 to 70% leverage. You're using other people's money. It's a huge deal. And that's otherwise, if you had to supply that full 1.6 million, like how many people have that just sitting in their savings account? Just about no one, because by the point people can have that kind of money in their account, that money's already going to work for them. They know you don't leave that sit there.
I had to learn the hard way. I would not the hard way, but I would have denied debt and debt as a useful tool. But I needed a line of credit to survive. Growing a business was expensive, far more expensive than I realized. I thought we could self-fund. So that was one of many of my failures. You mentioned faith being a part of your life. Do you mind talking about it? Is that a place that you don't mind?
Yeah, no,
sharing?
Absolutely. I'm a very strong believer. I'm a Christian. I go to church every Sunday, or most Sundays, I should say. And all of my decisions that I've taken, I take to my God and my wife. Like that. Those are my two like directional they help me find my direction. And a lot of the things you do as an entrepreneur, you just have to trust it's the right decision because you don't always know. And believing has been one of those ways that's helped me overcome those fears because I know I believe that I have a purpose that's written out for me in this lifetime already. And when I meet God at those gates, I want to know that like what he has on those sheet of what I was supposed to accomplish in my lifetime, that I accomplished that.
What was that always? Do you grow up in the church? That was important to grandpa?
Yeah, I was always, my parents raised me very much so in the church. And actually I went to a Christian school growing up from kindergarten through 7th grade. So that value has been instilled in me, and I'm forever thankful for that. I know where I'm going, and I know I'll see my family again someday. So that's it's a very peaceful thing. And I think once we hit that financial freedom number, you still, no matter what, like work has to be a part of your life, and you need to continue on, and you need to find what your purpose is. And I'd love to give back through different mission trips at time and just be a better help to the church.
Do you know what your purpose is?
Honestly, that is a great question. And I don't know at this point. One of the things that I want to do, and I think something you're kind of touching on here, Kevin, is helping people. Like I said, I didn't have any financial advantages growing up. Like I came from, I guess, I don't want to say poor, but we definitely struggled at times growing up. I want to help those people out that came from that position and teach them that you can be a business owner and you can succeed, because I grew up thinking you had to work for a W-2. And I honestly believed I would never be more than a factory worker. Like I was going to make close to minimum wage. And like, that was just all I could possibly do. I didn't even know any of this was an option until, relatively recently in the grand scheme of things. And if I could help out a few people level up, that would truly bring a smile to my face.
You might have to join my movement, man. That's what it's all about for me. I don't know if you looked up our company at all, but I'm a little arrogant, so we'll let everybody know that. But I think Simon Sinek wrote my book. I'm like, dude, I think purpose. That was he just got there first. But I'm such a believer in his stuff. I don't know if you studied it, but
what was his big book, Kevin? I have read some Simon Sinek.
He's the big why guy.
There you go. Okay, yep, that's why. Yep, I read that.
Yeah. The turning point for my company was 2019 when I got serious about culture. We're going to sit down. We're going to define our values. It was always purpose driven. I always knew that but pairing the purpose with the culture to enact it. And it's still something. That's how we make decisions today. But the reason I'm getting into my purpose is it aligns with yours and the business's purpose. And this is why fencing is, I always say it's not sexy, but it's good. I can take people and plug them in a system where if they're making minimum wage, I can start them at $20, $25 an hour, and they can climb their way to $40, $50 an hour and be making freedom. And actually up to 100. My union guys are making, the union takes their fair share, but plus retirement, they're making $100 an hour, right? And that's cool. To me, that's just cool. It's where else can you go? F the degree, don't go to school, don't lob off a bunch of debt, come to this school. And we're not there yet. That's why I was particularly fascinated with your mentor, because I want to do that for kids that want, because what I can do is put them in a truck and we can set them up and they can be a near subcontractor without having to solicit for work. They don't have to do all of the things business. They can focus on their trade and go make a name for themselves and and they can. A good subcontractor crew can be bringing in $2 million a year, but if they want, it would be very hard for that to be passive, not impossible. So anyway, that's our purpose, is just redistribute. I think the traditional model, and I think this is about to break, just talking to you, I'm yeah, this guy's like me. And I think this is going to break, but the traditional model is there's the owner makes a whole crap load of money and then it doesn't spread load through the company. And there's disincentives with customers and the people that make the customers happy, right? So owner gets 80-90%, multimillionaire, billionaire, and then dude, the people working are making $20 an hour and the customers aren't happy. It's what? Why did you? Anyway, I'm getting a little off my rocker here, but our business is to redistribute that. I have no interest in owning a helicopter, a yacht. Well, my people are starving and trying to find their next meal. Like that's like, it's freaking bullshit. Like that's just unbecoming. Is it even that fun? Like I think most people that have yachts are miserable. Like, why don't you bring your employees on your yacht? Let them enjoy it. Like do something good. And I think our generation is going to turn that script. And anyway, I say that to say, yeah, I think there's going to be a real opportunity for us to work together, particularly real estate. And I'd love to help you help me like with that. Because I think there's so many people that need to hear your story, maybe mine, but more your story is like from W2 to millionaire, like that. I would rather listen to that than freaking Taylor Swift. Why are people listening to freaking Taylor Swift? Like, what the hell? Like getting life advice from like bozos that sing. Sorry, Taylor, but like, it's like,
I don't know.
Story.
I don't know that Taylor's going to listen to this story. So I think we're safe.
yeah. But anyway, I just think we're listening to the wrong voices. Like, and I think that's why this is really cool for me, because it was organic. And I was like, this guy is worth talking to. I don't even know. Did you post? I have no idea. Did you change? I thought you had like pictures on LinkedIn. I was like doing my homework before this call. And I was like, how did I even find this guy?
Yeah, I think I just reached out to you, just kind of basically I saw you were an entrepreneur, and I was as well, and yeah.
Did you start it? I thought I cold cocked you. I think
maybe you did. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, you did. Dang it, you got me. That's so funny. You got me.
I outdid you, Kevin.
So you did. Damn it. I wanted to take credit for this.
No,
so
you're out. You're fine. This is my podcast now.
All right. Well, that's fine. I didn't want to be a podcaster. I want to, that's awesome.
All right.
So you can take it over. You just signed up for next host duty. I guess the one question I haven't asked that I really wanted to is like, when you went to do this, you wish you had that you didn't have? Like when you made that move, is there anything like you wish you were equipped with something that would have helped you along?
I think I wish I would have been prepared more for losing my job. At that time, I wasn't ready for that. I wish I had really come up with more of a strategy on how to succeed as a business owner versus just wandering around so much those first days. And I was new to it. Like, you're in a trade industry as well, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners will be in a trade as well. I was learning a new one when I went out on my own. I wish I would have had a little more time to master that trade before being on my own. I wasn't very good at it. So that was, you can't wake up one day and just be a plumber and then go sell that. And that was kind of per se what I was running into.
There's the operation side, the function, the trade, and then there's the sales side. And then you've got like the business, though, like I call it like the admin side of the business, like the calling all. So like you've got to do all three of those things. Like which one do you tend to of those three? What's your fave?
My favorite, when I first started, it was being within the trade. Like that's just what I was naturally inclined to do. Now, as time has went on and time is getting more and more scarce, I find my biggest value to the business is being the business owner and running that, getting the ads going and setting up CRM, all of those things. And honestly, I enjoy that new challenge more than being within the fixing dents every day now. It's just sometimes I get that shiny object syndrome. So it's a new task for me to take on and conquer, basically.
So let's go to a future state, and let's say the goal. And have you given me a goal? What's your goal? Also, I've got to apologize. I normally have a clean cut head of hair. There's not a good barber out here.
Really, the financial freedom is my first and foremost goal. Ultimately, I want to be able to step out of the day-to-day operations at Dent Details where I'm fixing metal every day. I want to be a part of that company where I'm not always the one doing the route calls, so I can focus more on actually growing that business. I would like to open up a second store as well. And on the real estate side, I would like to take that to 500 plus units.
But on the Dent side specifically, is there a revenue target where that's achieved? As far as like stepping out of the day-to-day, like I understand it totally. That's been my goal the whole time, was to have a self-running company. I forgot about the whole piece of making money for a little while, but like, do you know what that point is when conditions are set that you can?
If we could consistently gross that $1 million a year, there's no doubt I could step out of those operations from day to day at that point.
And so if we dreamed a little bit, just because I'm curious how this would shake out, right? So we're like $1 million, but let's just say we're looking at it and like the market is primed and you can do 5 million without needing 17 stores. Let's just go to that hypothetical land. And so now you're in a position where we'll just say that it takes 2 techs for each million. It's probably 1.5, but so I can't do them. So you got 10 techs. And so you've got, let's say 2 salesmen, 10 techs, 2 salesmen, 10 techs, a lead tech that does the scheduling and like runs the other techs, maybe, or we'll just call him a general manager, 2 managers over the techs. Operations. You have an operations manager, a salesman, and then a business manager. Like if those are the 3 arenas of the company at that point, and it's self-running, but you are going to stay involved. What side of the business would you stay on, that admin side, or do you like the sales side, or do you want to be critically involved with making sure the operations are flowing smooth, the techs are like doing their job? Like where would you tend
I would go on that admin side. It's just the direction my life's heading.
Yeah. So you'd stay on the high level strategy. Good to go. How do you feel when you look at like commercial real estate? Like, is there any emotion, like as far as like, I guess what I see, instead of asking the question, why don't I tell you what I think? Like, I find great disdain and discomfort. Like, I'm a big wealth gap guy. I think the wealth gap is ridiculous. I think it's insane that people have 2 planes, 4 boats, and then other people in the same country can't afford to eat or put a roof over their head. I'm like, what in the world? Like, and like my capitalist buddies, I know I'm a free market capitalist through and through, would be like, well, what are you, a socialist? It's like, dude, tell me the system's working when I just like, there's something inherently wrong. I'm not advocating for more tax, but particularly like the barrier to entry on real estate, which seems to only be getting worse with BlackRock, like buying up single family homes and all this stuff. Like, and then the values on commercial properties, you're looking at what I call like more like light commercial, which this is totally categorically false. I haven't read the book, but like, like it's commercial, but it's really residential. Like, so it's like still residential doors. Like that's one price point. But then like the industrial is like to be in business in a lot of places, like you can't even afford it because it's like suburbs of Chicago. It's like $1 million an acre. If I wanted just raw ground to be a contractor, it's like, so there's all sorts of pressure on it. Like, if I said that that's like going to be a problem if only a certain amount of people can buy real estate, does that resonate with you at all or not so much?
It does. And it like, I see where you're coming from, where I agree that it is wild what the wealthiest can have versus what the poor can have. And I think like how you touched on paying your workers a fair wages and so they can actually get to that next level. I totally agree with that. Real estate getting bought out and pricing people out of single family homes, that also is a really sad deal. Like, cause that is a very real problem, especially in some of these smaller communities that are now booming. Like housing supply is not keeping up with what's being bought out. Now, if we're just talking, like, are you asking from an investment standpoint, like, or just like a contractor wants to buy a piece of land to build a company on?
You had hinted at some type of purpose, ultimate purpose. But I meant to tell you this. I would encourage you to like figure out like what Zach Knoll was put on earth to do, because I think you're a really special guy. And so I would like, it's like the sooner you probably live into that is probably the best, because it's like, I think everybody kind of does that. Then I don't know if you're familiar, like once I achieve this, then I will. It's like, yeah, we all do. We all are. What I'm guilty of is I'm like, no, I'm just going to do this before and then I'm like, on the brink of bankruptcy or whatever else, because I'm like not looking at the dollars and being smart steward. So I'm running a little too far forward all the time. But it's like, I just think there's a real opportunity for you that for the rest of your, like for me, and I can tell you it's a foregone conclusion. You will hit that number. You'll hit the number. It's a foregone conclusion. It's a matter of when, not if, right? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? And by that time, you'll probably have increased your aperture and there'll be another number. So it's like, you're going to continue to grow and earn. So it's like, well, what's most important? And I think for most people, that's their family, but also you just strike me as somebody that's capable to go have a bigger effect. So I'm encouraging you that way. But you mentioned something about helping poor middle-class folk, and I think making it easier for them to purchase and acquire land of their own, or, like even if there's like some sort of shared land lease, like that is a beautiful opportunity, because I think most people build wealth. Like I think that's why you got into real estate. I don't think there's not many wealthy people that don't have real estate, because you can't make more of it, right? And it's like, to me, that's the great barrier is, you were a guy that couldn't envision yourself making the money that you're making. I think most people are people that can't envision themselves owning anything for themselves. So they don't even try. And why would they? 20%, like if I'm buying 100,000, like they can't come up with 20%. Right. And, frankly, they're in a factory and they can't read the books. They don't have drives. They're not, so like, it's kind of a trap. It's like, anyway, I guess my heart and my passion would be like and I hate the word sustainable housing because the government has sustainable housing, which is the inverse of sustainable housing. The bankers and the wealthy people take the tax credits and make a bunch of money. And then I think truly sustainable housing where you're teaching people how to build wealth and equity and like giving them the opportunity to like own into something and earn into something like, it's a BHAG of mine is to go develop some like communities that are like actually self-sustaining and evolving. And like, when I say sustaining, it's not like the rich get richer and the poor go rent the apartment down the street, which is conventionally what you see, right? In any cool area. Because you're kind of playing the game, I guess, I wonder if it's like, if there's any conviction or if there's any desire, if that resonates.
I would say like, I know where you're, like definitely being able to supply like affordable housing, but like one of the goals with like the real estate investing side that I've been on is just opening up. Like most people don't know you can invest in real estate. So like that's a whole nother opportunity. Like my brother works in a factory and he's got a decent job in that factory, but all he knew about was 401ks until he got into this. And like, he's actually investing in this deal that we're taking on. And like, I think that's like a great way that I can help others. Like, I'm not saying 401ks are a great program for like your, like a typical, like your everyday worker who wants to not put in the extra effort of learning about like how you can invest your money. Like it works fine for that. But otherwise, I think that system is to some extent broken. It sets you up like you cannot retire. I mean, at minimum, you can't touch that money until like you're 59 and a half. And I think like a lot of millennials, like we have an idea that we want to retire and actually enjoy life sooner than that. And like that say age 60 is kind of just an arbitrary number. Like I want to be able to help people hit their financial goals that didn't, I guess that come from a similar upbringing to mine that have no idea that there's a way out.
So I think what I'm hearing you say is like you have found a path within the current system and don't find the system to be broken. Rather, it's more of an access to education that enables, like within the system, there's like good programs that people can participate. They just don't know they can participate. So it's a lack of education and foundational understanding versus a broken system.
Yeah, it's sad. You see some of these housing areas and situations, and it's rough. But then I'll also see like some of these apartments that we toured that seemed like a great deal and had like, cause I don't want to buy a building like where I want to know that I'm helping somebody out in those, like feel like I'm doing good. And you go into some of these apartments and like for lack of a better word, it's just like, you can just tell like they're not in a place where they're ready to improve their life yet. Like some of these buildings were just rough, like booze bottles all over and like just kind of a thing that it doesn't necessarily interest me. Like I know like they need help, but like helping somebody fight a alcohol addiction or drug addiction in that kind of setting is going to be tough.
Cool, dude. I'm like glad we got in touch. I don't think this will be the last time we chat. So thanks for taking a shot on me. And you found me on LinkedIn. So here we sit. I thought I found you. I'm really upset.
You can't take that credit, Kevin.
Yeah, I can't. No,
I'm really glad when you brought up the podcast and you followed up with me. I appreciate it. And on it, like, this is great being on, doing my first interview on a podcast. And that was a lot of fun. And I would love to stay in touch with you because hearing about a business where you have over 100 employees, like I'm definitely like, I'm envious. Like that's the next level. Like I'm nowhere near that.
You're closer than you think. I would tell you're closer than you think, and you're actually doing a lot of things better than I did. So, but I'd love to stay in touch and help you along the journey the best way I know how, and see you make Dentside totally automated and self-managing. You can definitely leverage my failures as best you can. So, just wrapped up. Spent a couple hours with Zach. love his story. I think more people need to hear his story. So I don't know how to get this out there, but maybe you'll pass it along to somebody that needs to break out of the mold. So I hope Zach was an inspiration, and thanks for listening.